Hi, godly seers. Happy Sunday, everybody. So, today I'm here to encourage somebody out there that is feeling lonely or that is in a situation where you don't know what's happened to your friendships, or you don't know what's going on with your friendships per se, or regardless of, who is around you, you just feel, kind of lonely or constantly falling out with your friends and, things like that. I just want to give a quick testimony or a quick story time of my, journey around friendships. I've always been someone that struggled with the friendships. One, I struggle to keep them. I struggle with maintaining them. Should I put it like that? I struggle with communication in particular. It's one of the biggest burdens for me. I can be thinking about somebody all day, but to pick up the phone and ring them, it becomes a difficult, situation for me. Like, it's like I'm living in my head. I'm thinking about you, but calling you is a different matter. Like, getting out of my head and actually picking up the phone to call, it takes me, a lot of guts. Sometimes I would see missed calls and I'd be like, yeah, I'll call back. And then that call back never happens. It's something that I've struggled with for years, like my entire life. I'm not gonna lie, I've tried to do different things to try and change it, but I just couldn't get a breakthrough. And at some point, I lost so many friends, like people that, couldn't be bothered, checking on me all the time. I've been threatened several times by some of my friendships. They ring and say, God, I'm always the one, checking on you. If you call me, we'll talk for hours. Or when I manage to eventually call, we'll talk for hours. But after that, it's like, now you see me, now you don't. That kind of situation. So, yeah, and I lost so many friendships that I really cared about, but then I struggle to communicate with. It's almost like it's a serious issue, and I don't even know how to, explain it. I've lost a lot of family members, like, close family members, because of the same communication issue. So when I get to know people that are very poor communicators, that relationship can never stand, because me myself is an area where, I've struggled. And like I said, I've tried everything. I've cried about it. I've made promises to people. I'll call you. I'll get better. Please don't give up on me. I'll go back on my word. I don't know what happens, but it's a serious, serious issue. So, I got to a point in my life where I started feeling, quite lonely. Yes, I'm a church girl. I'm surrounded with church girls, but most of the time at that time, there was a lot of issues. Like, you can tell the friendships are not really genuine. There's always one issue, or another. There's always just something. So I'll try a bit harder, because obviously when I'm seeing you every day in church, so sometimes we try a bit harder. But then outside of that, we, still fall out, and, a lot of things just happen. So I remember 2018, I got to a point where I'd just left the church that I previously attended. I was back on being on my own, and I felt quite lonely. I said to God, I remember praying to God and saying, look, I've struggled with friendships all my life. Like, I've had people that, I've been blessed with people that love me to bits. But if they're not the type of person that probably love me enough or want to endure enough to keep me in their lives, then it wouldn't happen. So I was like, I need to, change the approach to this, I'm someone that has, I think I have two very close friends, as close as, someone, can be. One of them I've known since my young adulthood, and, she's more of a family member as well. So I don't know if that counts. And the other one is, my best friend that I've, had as a, best friend girl for years, for a few years now. So the other one, the first one that I've known since my young adulthood, she's a Muslim. But she's someone that at some point in our lives, like, because she kept trying to drag me into communication, and sometimes she would struggle. She would go for weeks not hearing from me until she calls again. She started making threats. I will never call you again. I'm done with you. I'll beg. And then she couldn't see any change. And eventually she stopped threatening me and just continued calling me. She just accepted me like that. We speak for hours. And then when we don't speak, when we start again, it's as if, we never, we just pick up from where we left. So she kind of understood me. We're still friends till date. Very, very nice girl. Very, very, very different from me. Almost the opposite of me. But then gets me to the T. Like, she understands me. She's someone that throughout, up until I met this girl, even within church, I never saw the type of relationship that is like that I have with her, because of all the people that I know, she's one of the people, and with my current friend as well, she's one of the only two people that I know. If I was ever in any financial crisis, I can just pick up the phone and say, look, can I borrow £5,000? That she will not ask me what for or when are you returning it. She would just say, oh, give me a few minutes and just go wire it. I could do that anytime with her. If she has it, for sure. The only thing that will prevent her from maybe wiring it is if she's a bit busy. She'll say, oh, give me a few minutes until I get home, or when I get to my phone, I'll wire it. She never asks when I'm returning it. But the same thing for me. When she picks up the phone and I have the money, go, can I have some, the relationship got to a point where sometimes if I've got money sitting there, I'll call her and say, look, I've got a few grand sitting here. Do you need it for anything? She's like, yeah, send it. I have something to do with it, to use it for. I'll send it back at some point. I'll send it to her before the time she said she will send it back. She's already sent it back. She's like, oh, I don't need it anymore. I was quick to do whatever I needed to do, so I've sent the money back. So we've always had a very good financial relationship. And I think it's really good to have people like that in your life, that if ever you're sinking and you need big lump sums of money, because the small money is here and there, you could easily get from somebody, but someone that can put their issues aside with whatever they are saving for and say, get up a huge lump sum of money and give it to you without even thinking whether you pay back or what if you fail, and they have that trust in you. I'll say keep those very close. No, now this friend of mine, she's a Muslim, and some people will be like, oh, don't be friends with people that are not your faith, this and the other. But I believe that God sometimes plants people in our lives for specific reasons. When I have spiritual problems or spiritual issues that I need to discuss, of course I'll never go to this person, because we don't have anything in common when it comes to our faith. I respect her faith, she respects mine. We don't cross that line. We talk about other people. She's a staunch Muslim. Staunch. When I say staunch, but then we maintain that respect for each other. Like when we're talking, she knows, where to draw the line. She knows what my faith is. I know what hers is. And we don't really cross that boundary. We just respect the kind of friendship that we have. Someone may say, oh, yeah. Cut that person off. Just be friends with your church sisters or brothers. But hey, do you know how many times those church sisters, church brothers, you be stuck, something to do with finances, you go to them even when they have the money stored up in the bank account, they'll tell you they don't have a penny. So for me, she serves a great purpose. I really appreciate her friendship, and when other people could not prevail with me, she prevailed. She started seeing past the difficulties, and said, oh, forget this one, she's like that, I'll just love her like that. And I bless God for her life. But the second friendship that I want to talk to you about, my other friend, around about 2018, I started feeling, a bit lonely, because this particular friend lives very far. She's based in London, and I'm outside of London. We used to travel a lot. For my birthdays, we'll go abroad together. And then that kind of died down because of, business of work, this and the other. And then she got married and different things. So around about 2018, I was like, Lord, this time around, I've never prayed for friendships, but this time around, I'm going to call on you for this. I've had, if you ask me to go out and make friends, I can make friends, but keeping them, like I said, is another issue. Maintaining them is another problem for me. But this time I went on my knees and I said, Lord, send me a friend. I want a divinely allocated friend into my life. Somebody that I will not just go and pick, because at some point I became so self-conscious. I didn't like, a lot of people would want me to be their friend. But because I know my issues, I was like, I'll laugh with you, we'll chat and stuff, but then I won't go that far, because I know once you start to see these other issues, you'll be like, I'm the one. Oh, I still have people in my life, don't get me wrong, that still threaten me like, oh, I'm not going to call you again because you never call me, this and the other. I still give them the same promise, and then, don't call them back or whatever. So this particular, and I prayed and I said, Lord, send me somebody that only you sent them, that regardless of what I do, they will see past it. Someone that will love me as me, someone that will be a friend. Yes, I've got a lot of flaws in myself on how to be, a good friend, but you teach me on how to, be a good friend, because you can't just be expecting, good friendships when you yourself, you are a terrible friend. Like, So anyways, and not to say that I'm perfect, I'm nowhere near it, but I'm just telling you what I did about it, and hopefully if it helps, maybe you could try it. So after I prayed, a few months passed. I prayed the prayer and I left it. A few months down the line, I started noticing this girl. She was working in my office. I didn't even know this girl lives in my area, so I saw her crossing the road close to where I live, and I was like, I know that girl. I've seen her in my office. But then she has this, I think they call it, what do you call it? A resting bitch face. Like, she has that face like, don't dare me. Like not someone I would like to talk to. Like, if I didn't know her, I'm like, she's got that stay away from me face. Well, that's what I thought. I looked at her, I was like, I know her. I didn't know she lives in this area. And then I brushed it off. Next day, I went into the office. Lo and behold, I see her by the printer coming into the office. I'm like, oh my God, that's the same girl I saw by my area. So, okay, fair enough. I just passed her. I'm like, oh, she's not someone I can ever be friends with, because, like, even to go and say hello, like, she doesn't give off that vibe. Like, she doesn't have a friendly face, like, as far as I'm concerned. I just, not realizing the person that was all of a sudden in my face all the time is this person God was about to send in my life. And I think there's a time she told me that there's a time we both drove from the office driving home, and she was tailing me from the office all the way to the roundabout that separates us to our different houses. And I didn't know, because I'm not someone that maybe keeps up on, people's cars, picks up on, issues like that. Oh, this person is behind me. Oh, I know that person in the cab in front of me. If they're inside the car, I may not really notice that really easy. But she was telling me that she was somehow noticing me as well. But then our paths were just crossing in different directions. So long story short, just before the pandemic, this girl came to work on my team. She was moved from her team and joined my team. And I was like, oh my God, it's that girl again. So we started, kind of talking. She was quiet. She would present as very shy until, you get to know her. And then I was sent out on a few home visits with her. I was driving. She came with me. We were going from house to house, and I would talk her ears off, like I would talk to death. Going from this conversation with her, and she'd be quiet. She wouldn't be saying anything to me. We get to the visits, we come back, and then I'm like, so what's your opinion? She would just say, and say one word. I'm like, oh, this girl is weird. She's a weirdo. So, yeah, she wasn't giving much of her energy. And then one day, she opened up about something. And then again, I chatted her ear off. Like, I was just, she couldn't get a word in. And I think she was like, so anyways, I don't know how the friendship even developed. We started talking, and, because we were sitting together, me and her and this other girl on the team, we just sit there and probably chat all day if we could, like, overwhelm the entire team. We're there just talking about probably rubbish, like jumping from one thing to another. We became very close friends, 3 very close friends. But anyways, after that conversation, one day I remember calling her, telling her, oh, do you know what? I've struggled with a shopping problem, like, for years. Anyone that knows me is secret. I'll go and shop until I can't shop anymore. I'll buy things, whether I know what to do with them, whether I don't know, I'll just carry. It's like a coping mechanism. I'll take them home before I don't know what I want to do with them, but I just know I need to take them. Anyways, so that time I went to TK Maxx, bought, I think it was 3 pairs of shoes. I don't like bringing the boxes in my house when I bought shoes, because I'm like, whether I like those shoes or I don't like them, I have a problem returning them. I'll just come and pile them, and they will just sit there, join the other collection that is there. So I sat down and I removed all the boxes. I looked at the shoes. I was like, they don't look exactly like maybe what I thought. I was a bit underwhelmed by, the look. I was like, nah. I just went to throw the boxes into the shop bin, and not realizing that I'd thrown one of the shoes. I left one of the shoes inside the box. I didn't even try them, and I just went them, I'm going home. I'd ordered them, and then I went to collect them. So I drove home. And then when I go home, I'm taking them out of the box. One of the shoes is missing. I call, I'm like, look, one of my shoes is missing. And she's like, oh, how can a shoe be missing? A brand new shoe. So I explained to her, I've just come to the shop. I think I left it there. But never mind. I'll just forget about that shoe. It's okay. It's my fault. She's like, no, you've paid money for these shoes. I was like, yeah, I don't mind. I can't be bothered to drive back. She's like, nope. we are going back to get that shoe. I was like, look, have you seen the time? It's late now. She's like, no, I don't care. I'm going to drive from my house, meet you at the shop. You drive your car, meet me there. Let's go. I was like, really? I thought she was joking because she kept saying, no, you cannot leave that shoe there. We'll go and find your shoe. If that's what you think, even if it's not there, let's go and try. So I was like, okay. Both drove, go to the shop. The shop is long closed. They've already put the barrier back down. She's like, yeah, we're jumping in. We could have been arrested. Probably they had it on camera. It's as if we're breaking into something. We're not supposed to do that, by the way. She's like, yeah, we're jumping in. She jumped in. I followed her. We went through the bins. They probably could see us on camera. She's like, yeah, there's your shoe. Bye. I'll see you tomorrow at the office. Drove to her house. I drove to mine. I was like, this girl is crazy. She's going to, rubbish bins to find my shoe for me. And from that day, long story short, everything else became history. Became very, very good friends. She has been there through thick and thin. There are many things that could have broken us very, very easily. Very, very easily. But every time I sit down and think about one thing, I'm like, this is not someone, like people that see us as friends and stuff may think, oh yeah, it's just like a normal friendships like the others. But I tell myself, this is someone that did not randomly stumble into my life. This is someone I prayed for. This is someone that I went to God and I said, no, I'm not just doing it the way I do it normally. Whatever it takes to sustain them in my life, you will sustain them. We've had fights, like, like fights. Like we've had, bickers here and there, not major ones, tiny ones when usually me being inappropriate, opening my mouth anyhow and saying, things, insensitive things, and maybe I upset her, but that's a very long time ago. And there've been a lot of things that probably I have done. But then I've seen the goodness of the Lord. This person, like when I'm trying to do things that are unreasonable or that are, dangerous for me, there's a time I was telling her, I need to go get this procedure done abroad, blah, blah, blah. She tried everything to stop me. She would sabotage me, pull the phone off my ear when I'm talking to those consultants. And when she saw that she couldn't win the battle, she said, well, I'm coming with you. I'm like, what? She's like, yeah, I'm coming. I'm not letting you go to a foreign country on your own. And I've not told anybody. It's just me going. She's like, yeah, I'm getting on that plane and I'm coming with you. This girl will come with me. I'll go through surgery. She's right there. I remember I went into, I had a procedure, and then as I was being wheeled in, I could hear her crying, her eyes out. And I was like, oh my goodness, I think I'm dying. I think they've told her that something has terribly gone wrong. But of course, I couldn't speak. I was so much, dragged up. I just opened my eyes and I just closed them back. And then I could hear her praying over me. And then when I was conscious again, I was like, okay, what is it? Why are you crying? Like, what did they say? She said, no, they didn't say anything. But I was so scared because obviously we are both in a foreign country. None of your family members know that you're here. She told her parents that she's coming with. I could have died there. How was she going to explain this? I sat there and I was thinking, I put this girl in a very dangerous situation. Because these things happen to people all the time. Like, what happens if she has to wheel a dead body back home? What is she going to tell people? But then I remember when I woke up, I was like, okay, this is not fair. I said to her, call my uncle. Call one of my relatives and let them know what's going on. She's like, okay. Then she, reached out to them and told them that, look, we're in a foreign country. I bet they were like, okay, what? Like, she's doing what? But anyways, it was too late. They can't stop me, So, but there's so many examples. There's so many things, that we've been through. There are so many things, like, people bring around her. She will accept them. Accepted my husband. She gets on very, very well with my husband. She's like the female version of my husband. And that's the very interesting thing. The way she thinks, sometimes I run to her trying to tell her, oh, my husband has said this or this and that. She's like, yeah, and what did you say? By the time I tell her, she's like, yeah, your husband is right. That's exactly how I think. Or she'll give me the explanation, which is exactly what my husband has already said to me. And I'm like, oh my God, these two people are probably weird, or am I the weird one? Like, why? She's like, but wasn't that obvious? I'm like, okay, so it's like, it's just so weird to explain. And sometimes she'll be, because she knows me in and out, sometimes she'll be the one, when I say something, she's like, oh, have you spoken to your husband about this? Have you checked this out? To the point that it was starting to creep me out. Like, for example, if we're joining a Zoom meeting or something, and maybe there was a noise somewhere that nobody could detect, like not even me speaking, like something silly or something playing in the background, and nobody could figure out where that is coming from or who that could be. This girl would text me and say, Godly, is that you? I'll get up. So I'm like, what do you mean it's me? Of course it's me. Like, how do you even know that she's like, well, Godly, I know you. Like, have you ever known someone inside out? Like, it's like you can just write what they are thinking before they even, say anything. Like, there's so many different things, and sometimes she'll say something when I've done something like maybe something embarrassing that she knows that, okay, I know what her problem, what Godly's problem is in this case. She'll pretend that she doesn't know, and then later on she'll be like, so is this what was going on? I'm like, oh, so you knew the whole time? She's like, yeah. And I'm like, okay, so I'm feeling embarrassed because you knew what the issue was, even though I'm beating about the bush because there are other people involved. I can't say exactly. She'd be like, yeah, I knew. And I feel, like, when someone knows you, but they don't just know you for no reason. God put them in your life. And we've seen, been blessed by this person, both me and my husband. And I know obviously things change a bit when I got married, like, things do change, the dynamics change a bit. But I'm just going back to emphasize that there's a huge difference between the people that God places in our lives and the people that we just go randomly and just choose for ourselves. You see, the person God has placed there will still, like, will survive, the test of time. They'll survive so many things. They'll be such a blessing to you. And, I just hope that, I'm also a blessing to this person, because obviously, they have friends, a lot of friends, but then their friends are maybe not local as well or whatever. But then again, when I look at the personality differences between me and, this friend of mine, we are so different, like miles and miles and miles, different. And yet, God, makes it work. You see, God makes it work. God makes it, worth it. So I want to, encourage someone out there and to say to somebody that you don't need a lot of friends in your life. You don't need a lot of friends in your life. You just need the right, even if it's just one. One friendship in your life can make up for the 10. There are people that have like 10, 20 friends, but they're all like no good. Like they're not necessarily, beneficial to their lives. They're just people like, oh, this is my friend, this is my friend. I'm not that type of person. Probably I don't know how that feels like. But when you have the right people in your life, it makes a difference. One friendship can make up for 10. I would rather have one genuine friend, one, consistent friend, than have, too many that are, they're not reliable. Like they're not for me. That's what I'm trying to say. So if you're out there and, you don't know what your friendships are doing, or you struggled in that kind of area, or you're a certain type of way, I'm just telling you that, God can send you someone that when you look at, how they are with you, you're forced to think, okay, I don't believe in, previous life like some people believe. It's like, were we, sisters in the previous life, or were we relatives in, previous life? Because I'm an only girl in my family. She's an only girl in her family. But then you just click. You see, the friendship has developed so much to the point that we're both in the same job. Most of the time we work in the same office. We leave from one job to the next together. We move as a pack, usually. It's like, there are so many things. So many things. We can stay for days without talking. Now, like before, we just talk on the phone. We'll be going to the same office. We leave the house, both on the phone, talk whilst we drive. We get to the office. We jump off our phones. We go and sit together, talk the whole day. Jump back in our cars, going to different visits. We're still talking. It's like, what are you talking about that never finishes? That we even ask ourselves, and we're like, yeah, what is it that never? We always have something to talk about. It's like, hello, it's just crazy. It's just crazy. And this is someone that is very, very respectful. Very, very respectful. And so, I know I've rambled on. I'll tell you about another friendship that, not friendship, but another connection that I prayed about in my life that made a huge difference. I think in the next video, I'll tell you about the other one. But yeah, please pray over your friendships. Don't be the type of person, especially not in this day and age, that anybody can just choose you as a friend. You have the responsibility of choosing them into your life as well. You see, don't just be chosen right, left, and center. Don't be like, that type of person you hear, okay, if it's your thing, let me not tell you what to do. There's some people, it's their thing. They're here, there, and everywhere. They are, very friendly people. They like having so many friends, and it works for them. Let me not comment on things. I have no idea how that works, and the benefit that comes with that, and what other people get from that, because probably I'm not the best person to advise someone on that level. But anyway, I'll speak to you soon. Thank you very much. Bye.